now Ravenstar's Witching Hour with your host, Solaris BlueRaven.
I believe we're live. Let's hope, right? Let me know in the chat room. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ravenstar's Witching Hour. I'm your host and head witch, Miss Solaris BlueRaven at the helm this evening. I want to give a shout out to everybody here at Revolution Radio, staff, producers, listeners, chat room, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We are 100% listener support, so if you like what you're hearing, click the donate button. We appreciate your support, and thank you for any contribution you can make this excellent station here at Revolution.radio. And let's see, I have wonderful, wonderful guests for you all this evening. I'm very, very excited to have them on board with me tonight. My special guests tonight are Frank Castle and Paula Milo, and they are just awesome, wonderful beings. Let me get you their bio here. Frank Castle is a writer, producer, MC, talk show host, and a founding member of the music group HeistClick, 1998 to present, as well as a Neo Shaman. Neo Shamanism is not a single cohesive belief system, but a collective term for many philosophies and activities. And Paula Milo is a spiritual teacher, healer, and prayer warrior. I love that. And YouTube show is, you can channel, their YouTube show channel is Frank Castle Fearless, and you guys have to tune into that also. And their show is Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Fearless, and they are also on the YouTube. Like I said, their website is wearefearless.com. They are phenomenal beings. I love them dearly, and please welcome Frank and Paula to the show this evening. Good evening.
Thank you, Solaris, so much for having us on
the show. Yes, thank you,
Solaris,
for having us.
That was an amazing intro, by the way. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I love you guys so much. And I must say, if y'all haven't heard Frank and Paula on air, you've got to tune into their show. So once again, let everybody know how to tune into you all and listen to your show.
Every 9 p.m. Saturday nights on Frank Castle's Fearless. It's the channel on YouTube. You could tune into Fearless Volume 2. I have such a great time doing this, Solaris. I love now. Well, it's a change in perspective. You know, the hip hop and the interviews and the this and the that. That's always flat. It's always like, well, let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about that, right? It's not about that anymore. Now it's what's happening around us, and we're rising together. So it becomes a hyper interesting topic.
Yeah.
That is going to be on everyone's lips forever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? So it's almost like everything else doesn't matter.
So true. Yeah. And once again, like I said, I love Truth Frequency Radio. And so we all support you. And you know that. And yeah, I'm happy you're here. So let's roll with information wherever you want to go. I know we touched on a few things off air and wherever you want to go. And by the way, before we do get started, I love the prayer warrior there, Paula. I think that's such a beautiful terminology.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It started a long time ago with a Word document. I would pray for people on my job and my family and my friends. And I had like a 90% success rate just writing it down. And then
wow.
I'd have to cross it off when they came to me and they said, oh, it happened, or, it came true, or, and then I said, if I can do this on a Word document, I can put it to practice in everyday life. And that's kind of what I did.
Mm-hmm. And it shows. And your energy, both of your energies off the charts, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Spiritual work has definitely permeated in multidimensional fields.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That is our purpose, though, is it not?
Oh, yeah.
To lock that down on the planet so we could all vibe at that extreme level of awesomeness.
I love it. Well, definitely. So it sounds like you've had some interesting activity.
I mean, we take the good with the bad around here, but the bad isn't really as terrible, But yeah, we've had, I just felt earlier tonight when I was listening to you on Ra's show on Eye of Ra, I felt like you would understand more than anyone else I've spoken to about this. Everyone else is hearing it, or maybe they heard Alan Watts or somebody talk about how this works or how the tech could work. I mean, I don't know. I've heard about it in the past, but until you experience the weapons, the sonic weapons, being tracked, tagged, stuff like that, through my ayahuasca experiences, and this has only been going on the last 5 years, as I've been waking up and moving through these positions, I realized we were tagged here, they caught us there, but it's always ET related, or it's some kind of reptilian thing where they're like, oh, look who it is. But there's nothing like when it really happens. No ayahuasca, know nothing. You're just there, and then it occurs, and you can bear witness to it. Now, I don't know if it's because the level we're at in this home, we built our home to be our starship.
This is definitely a sacred space here that we've created, and we understand that entities are curious about human behavior, human life, and they do come to visit, they do come to look in, and that's okay as long as they follow the rules of engagement. And they know what they are, and we kind of know what they are, and as long as we each follow the rules, we can coexist. That's how I feel anyway. And in that night particularly, when Frank was attacked, it came out as an argument, a senseless argument among two people that 5 minutes earlier were fine. So I don't know if something was in the air that started this argument.
It was like my insides got into a little rage monster moment, right? And then we kind of argued. I went to the other room. This is kind of abridged because I want to just keep to the meaty parts. But I went down early in front of Paul. I went into the other room and kind of laid on the floor. I was so angry when I yelled at you, and then went into the other room. You yelled at me, and I was like holding. If you clench your teeth and you go, right? I was in that mode, but I sat on the bed, and then had to get lower, like to the floor. My insides kept raging without me. I stopped raging inside, and I said, "Oh, what's going on?" And so I thought I was having a seizure, and I understand that during a seizure, your internal guy is on. He's just fine. He doesn't feel it. He's kind of like, look, I'm here, but nobody could hear me. I can't get my machine to work. My flesh technology is failing me. My teeth were clenched. My jaw hurt. All these things happened, and then I went on the floor and started having a seizure, and Paula came in, right? You found me on the floor.
Oh yeah, I found them on the floor, and I immediately said, and I was annoyed. I mean, we had this argument over nothing. It was such nonsense. I can't even tell you what it was about. It was nonsense. And as soon as I walked into the bedroom and I said, "You're on the floor," and then I said, "Wait a minute, you're being attacked." And then immediately got out of argument mode and got down to business.
Now, I still denied being attacked. But you, let me preface this with, you have never been wrong yet, and that's weird for me to witness. Even though I witness all this other stuff, when you see it live time all the time in your face, she's like, "You got to have faith. This is what's going on," and I'm like, "Well, let me dig into it and check for myself just to find out she's correct." Right. And it's like, you got to believe a little bit, man. Everyone's got a little bit of that superpower. And she just walked in, looked at me on the floor, and she said, "You're being attacked." And then I was like trying to tell her I'm having a seizure or something. Anyway, so she gets me up. And Paula has this amazing ability to actually pick this 200-pound man up and carry him or move him to where necessary. And I was like crying. It felt like I was purging. All kinds of weird stuff was happening. And now it becomes a health issue, not an attack. Now we go back into the earthly, right? I'm like, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening to me." And we roll a joint, calm down, right? We're smoking a little bit. Everything's fine. Paul is like, "Okay, this is all over, right? Well, I'm going to go in the other room now." Now, almost an hour has passed, and I'm sitting down at the desk, and I clench my fists like 2 minutes after she goes in, and I start shaking. I can't explain what and this story is going to open into exactly what was happening. I had no control, right? And it felt like something inside was fighting something external, but is this me? Like, my heart doesn't hurt, but it feels like I'm having a heart attack, but my arms and legs are shaking too. So it's a seizure. No, wait. I'm burning up. Is it a fever?
Oh yeah, you got a really bad fever.
Yeah, weird things were occurring in moments. Right? First it was not there, and now it's there.
Yeah,
but there was
rough.
There was this shaking that occurred. So I relight my blunt, and I'm trying to say to myself, you're not going to lose it, because this is what freaked me out. I was looking at right. I'm sitting right where I'm sitting now, where I do the show. It's a little desk piece, and I'm saying to myself, well, what's wrong? Try to get up. Like try to get up. Try to get up.
Well, you're rationalizing.
And I'm rational. Yeah, this sickness that's occurring, and right in front of me, right through the screen, right through the wall. There's a wall right on where the Mac is. This little gray. He wasn't that little though. He was like 4 feet tall, maybe a little bigger, bulbous head. Walks right up to me, and he's like, "Wait till you realize that the wall in your desk isn't even there." And I jumped back as if I just watched this thing come out of the wall, right? But now I'm looking at you, and you're there. I'm not doing Frank Castle's ayahuasca. No, there's no channeling. This thing's standing in front of me, telling me that this doesn't exist in front of me, and he's standing in it, which is freaking me out. So I turn around, I take a deep breath. I quote the Wim Hof stuff, that 30 breaths, right? I start doing it because I'm freaking out now. And I look behind me, and it looks like my whole apartment, but not just my apartment. It was like the house next door and the house next door. I started seeing things as if it was architecturally blueprinted and not rendered yet, as if it was a computer 3D model or something. I can see the blue background or the black and whites, like the reflective, and where my desk would be. And I saw through the window, right where the window is on the other side. Now my cat is sitting right there, losing it, just looking up like, what's going on? And I'm checking the cat, going, it'll be okay.
Yeah, because she could see.
I'm going, it's validation to me because I know who this specific cat is. So I know this all sounds weird, but as a shaman, this is just a day in the life. Honestly, a portal opens, and it looked like a horn, like a point over up top, and then it like built into like a saxophone looking thing that opened a hole so I could see it come. And I said, wait, there's a bubble over us, and now the portal's opening inside the bubble, and I'm inside this thing, and I immediately feel disconnected from my higher self. Like I can't scream, Solaris, come help me. Like etherically, you won't hear me. I can't even, it's just who's in the bubble with you. And I see the neighbors, all of them, specifically the neighbor right next door. It was a mother and the youngest son was standing as if they were flashed.
Frozen in time.
You know, when people experience this white flash of light, I've experienced it many times.
Yep.
And under ayahuasca, they're trying to teach us how just to blank out a frequency at that moment so it doesn't affect you. There's a whole thing to do. But I'm watching this, and piling in the room are ETs that look exactly like the one standing next to me, and he's right next to me just looking at me, and he's got a little space outfit on and stuff, and I'm freaking out. And they pile into the room, and I could have swore there was 30 people in here. But it was not in the house. It was the house doesn't exist at this level. I can't explain this.
But they were all around.
But they were filling up the whole area, and they were lining up as if I felt like there were like one ET per every 10 men. And this is what made me stand up and really lose my mind, like in a way to bring me back to reality. The men were like U.S. military guys. Yeah. They just had masks on. They had guns. They were in formation, and they were lining up. It looked like we were on a grid, and I'm going, what is going on? They're like, yeah, he can see us. And they're talking. They're going, oh, look who it is. So I run into the bathroom, and I'm like, this isn't happening. And my bathroom's right here. I go to the bathroom, and I start throwing. I had to go number one, right? So I tried, and then I'm like shaking really bad, and I go, okay, that's enough. And the guy that was in front of me by the computer just turned around. He just turned and looked at me, and he goes, okay, here we go. And he lifts this, it looked like a stick at the time, but I say the Ghostbuster weapon. He like lifted it to my face level, and I felt when he looked at me, because I was looking right into his eyes, and then he it was like putting a gun in someone's face. When he activated it, I felt that like, yeah, I'm going to get you feeling, like I got you, and you're going to take this. And little rings were coming out like donuts, faster and faster, it's starting at a small point, coming out of the weapon's front, and then getting bigger and bigger as it got closer to me, right? And then I backed up in the bathroom and I tried to make it to the door and it got faster and faster. And I said, "What did you say to me? I can't hear you." I don't know why I was saying that. I thought they were talking to me. And then my body hit the floor super hard, but I wasn't in my body. The light being was just standing there. I was looking at my palms and I went, "What just happened?" And I turned around and looked and I saw everything from their perspective, 100%. I saw this whole place was cordoned off. There was a bubble over us, and they were at points, not just my apartment. They were portaling in on the ley line, and all the people on the grid here, and it looked like a grid. It literally looked like an architectural grid.
I think what originally happened was they were poking around with this device, and I think they were looking for points of light, and I think they stumbled across the house,
or they militarily just cordon off areas and test them.
Whatever it is, whether they found it by accident or they were going area by area and testing, they accidentally found us.
And well, they said,
I think that's how it started.
It wasn't like, "Oh, we're here to get Frank." They came in the room.
I think it was an accident.
"Oh, look who this is." Now, I'm assuming they see something in me that I do not know yet, right? So when they keep saying that to me, I'm like, why? That's been said to me so many times while I'm under. They're like, "Oh, he doesn't know who he is yet. Look." And I know who I'm with, and I get this sense of certain things. I don't really like to talk about them on air, though. But it's weird because I'm just like, well, it's just me, but I'm the creator. See, so now you have a problem. See, I consider myself prime creator, source prime, prime source. It's me. You wanted me, you got me. That's
right. So now you're on the bathroom.
So now I look down. And they're just holding the weapon over me, and they're not looking at my light body. They're like, "He can't do anything. That guy can't do nothing to us. He can't physically affect us." They were saying that out loud, and they surrounded my body, and they just held the weapon really strong. And I said, "Oh no, this ain't gonna happen." I dove at my body, and it was like hitting a wall of Jello. And I said, "No." And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna." When she comes up and finds him, she's gonna think he had a heart attack and died of a seizure or something right here, trying to call for help. And I pushed through this layer, got in my body, took 3 deep breaths. I couldn't breathe. It was so difficult. My body was vibrating so hard that I finally, somebody said to me in my mind, "Take a deep breath and stop trying to talk. Take 1 deep breath." I took 1 deep breath and I yelled, "Paula," and she came flying into the room with me. Now, I got up. I remember they were standing over me. I had a split on the back of my head. I said, "This guy hit me with something." Like, he literally physically hit my physical body. But I go, "Paula, they're in the room with us."
You were burning up with fever, too. I got you on the toilet. And then I got every washcloth I had on the cabinet. And I threw them in a sink with cold water. And I tried to get his fever down first.
I was like, they're trying to suicide me or something.
And while this is happening, I'm telling my bubble of protection, no one is allowed in here. No, what is happening? You're defying the rules of engagement. You're not supposed to be engaging us like this. This
it's like not, natural law is 100% broken at that level.
Yes.
Right. And I'm freaking out. Now, I'm sorry. I don't even know.
No, go ahead.
So my feeling, I'm sitting on the toilet, right? And I got ice stuff on me and I can see them. Right. That's my gift. Anyone that knows me has heard my story, knows I can see. I close my eyes. I see almost as good as I see with my eyes open here. Way better naturally, but it's pretty intense. I was watching them from what they were doing. And I was telling Paula, "No, they're in the room with us. This is what they're trying to do. They want me to look like I died from that weird moment we had and that Frank just went and they were talking about it, but the military guy. So they were standing there. And then I said,
"You're not allowed to stay. You must go."
They were laughing. They were looking at me laughing. So I'm like, "Wait, you're a man." So I got up and I walked up to where I felt the dude was standing, and I said, "I'm a shaman. I'm the creator." Like, I was just blurting stuff out. I'm like, "I'm gonna find you. May not be able to find this little egghead, but you, I'm gonna get." And I crawled back into the living room. They were just holding this weapon on me. And then I stood up and said, "Look, I'm done with this. No more." And it went back at them the other way. It was the weirdest thing. I stood up, I stopped shaking, and then it came out of my
energy.
It came from my chest, like my heart. Dare I say, listeners, I know what this sounds like, but it was like a welling up from my heart.
Oh, you're protecting your heart.
And then it like womp womp came out and was like, no more. I was just tired of the game. Like, I saw you're doing this, but it's not hurting me like it did before. I don't know why. And I've been attacked etherically, the AI, the reptilians, et cetera, et cetera. They always use this mind stuff at you, or they'll use a weapon at you. And it seems like your higher self is allowing it to take place so your energy can match whatever, because it's all energy. You match the frequency of whatever device or whatever their mind is using against you, right? Because it's working, but you're aware of it. So now it's not working like it used to. And now I'm like, no more. It's going to stop. I match the frequency, and then I overpower the frequency because I'm the creator. That's what we do, right? Yep. And then I walk out of their trap and say, no more, child. Right? And nice. I know that sounds potent, but that's what happened here. And the vibration went back. He turned the weapon off. And when I mean they ran, I wanted to grab the military guy and pull him out. One of my things is, I'll get you, if you're cloaked, and I'll pull you out, and I will beat you right here, Bronx style. And I know this sounds whatever, but they were in my home. They were trying to do this to me, and I've never had anything like this done. I've had weird experiences and crazy stuff, and I've witnessed the being tracked and tagged and experimented on and stuff, but that's always under something. It's not live time. This was a live moment. And it was just happening in my home, and it was being directed as if it was almost like they were targeting the area with something to get us all pissed off or something.
Sounds like a beta test to some degree.
Yes.
And I was watching how the humans were acting with them. They were scared.
Very scared.
The ETs bounced. They were like, bye. They didn't wait for no one. They left first. They ran. I watched them run into frame and completely run out. They went back into the portal, and the humans were like, oh, I guess we're leaving. I'm like, I'm going to find each and every one of you because I can track your energy signature. I'll always know it's you. You'll never hide from me again because you activated me on that level. You know, it's weird how these activations occur. But then at one point, as creators, does it stop? But then I go and look. All right, now that's the story, right? Everything stopped after that. I went to bed. Paul and I slept great. Talked about it the next day. I was still a little shaky, but I'm like, what did I tell you that night, Paul? I'm never going to be afraid.
No, not a bet. That it already happened.
Your men are here. I've dealt with reptilians. You guys are punks. You're punks. You got guns and weapons on me and Paula. I mean, come on. And you're running around where we can't see you. So that makes you epically what? You're tricksters. Every single one of you are playing a game. Well, we're not playing the game no more. So at what point does one of us pop off to be able to defend against that and prove that the creator inside of you,
each time it happens,
can now overcome. Yeah, and that weapon no longer is prosperous against me. And my home can never be used against me again because I'll know, and I'll know my body will just react. But this is, I don't know how to. This was a hard one to come live and tell people. This was the hard one.
Oh, I'm sure.
They were like, "You're nuts," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." My head was split open. I fell face first. I was like, "This dude hit me in the back of the head with his gun." I know it because I saw the body bounce, but I was standing outside of my body. It was almost like my body hit the floor and did the jiggle, and then he hit me in the head with it and split my head open. And I was like, "How did you do that?" I couldn't grab you momentarily. Like, what are you doing? And the ETs were pretty forthcoming about it. They're like, none of this is real. They're like, you're in a hologram in a certain pattern of frequency, and we're higher in the frequency out of your awareness.
Scary.
So I go, so you guys could just walk in and out?
Nope.
That's like natural law.
Yep.
Like you can't do that and then be
imposing on my will.
Hide inside the shadow like that. Like whispering in an ear is one thing. You know, even the demons don't go that far, you know? Like they do, but they don't. Like there's still that balance because they know they'll get whacked if they move too far and they're being watched. So, it's just the way the balance works in this.
So
the
place. Universe decided to even the score, and they sent an army of kittens who are becoming beautiful cats.
So right after this occurred,
7 kittens
appeared in the backyard.
We took care of them. They're our army, and they're defending us from what's coming.
And we know.
And I firmly believe that.
Our first thing is a connection with nature.
Yeah, connection with nature.
So nature.
Yes.
Even I was saying
is fighting back.
This is out of the natural law. Like you guys, we're in this over bubble, over the whatever grid area they're coming in to work. But what they do is suppress everyone's ability to get send a message out. Let's say, right? So you're trapped inside this bubble, and they do their little experiment and they bounce. So the outside guys that are watching too, there's this weird thing that's occurring where you can't bring for the help because you got to ask for it, and then we don't impede on the free will, but then these guys are impeding on the free will, but these guys are not aware of that, right? And I'm going, wow, this is some slick stuff right here you guys are doing. I go, you realize that,
never in my life has anything like this happened. It's the strangest thing. It never. I have cats coming in and out through that kitchen window. It's Cat Central here. And they're all cloaked, so the neighbors don't. You have no idea. This is ridiculousness. They're here to fight something because they transmute.
I've never seen
day
nothing
long,
like it,
all
and
night
I
long.
wouldn't have believed it unless.
It's so
even
strange.
Watching it on YouTube, I'd be like, "Yeah, they're a bunch of weirdos." I would just dismiss it until I'm the guy in the room.
It's the
cats
strangest
showed up.
thing.
They ran to me when they saw me, so I was going, "Oh no!" What? I go, more cats because we already had cats. I'm like, we can't have more, but there's 7 more, and each one of them. They lay on us now, and they just vibrate. You'll have one on your head, one on your chest, one on your. One just refuses to leave my waistline and just wants to purr. And I'm like, all the places that I've been attacked, you guys are just laying on me doing that and then going, let me run outside. And then you can see what they're doing outside. It's like they're transmuting that energy.
Wow.
Paul is just, hey man, we're building an army of cats. It sounds funny,
so
but
strange.
whoever's running the beings, the non-human entities that are inside these animals, right? Inside our family are not little kittens.
No.
Our little
on the
bear,
other side,
the black cat.
They're monsters.
Yeah, looks like a panther that stands up straight, but on steroids, maxed out like a bear would be. But it's
like
a
11 feet tall.
And then has the same drippy eye and weirdo cat face, but it looks more like a panther werewolf thing, and it attacks anything that comes near us less than a certain vibration, just attacks it, does not even care.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, I go, what is, did you, I drank one night and went under, and I go, I thought I was being attacked by a werewolf. And then he sat with me and started licking me, and I saw the eye, and I go, you wouldn't happen to be Little Bear? And he just hugged me. It was like being hugged by a monster werewolf. And then I was checking them out. I go, I appreciate this. And she was like, yeah, no problem. They're not who you think they are.
No.
One might be you. One might be Paula, one might be this, but we're all connected. That's all true. But there's also warriors inside of that.
Oh, yeah.
That have come and decided to surround you.
Because they come and go all the time.
Yeah. Now they can't come into your home like that. Now you just can't do it. I was saying, what shy of you now showing up and doing it yourself? What are you going to do now? I've already beat you etherically. Match point, win every single part of your chessboard, which I refused to play on, but apparently I had to go face first through every single one of them and just admit that it's there.
Yeah, that'll never
respond that I'm the all, you're the all, and we are together in this, and we're rising through this. No more chessboards. We're not playing with you no more. New team takes the field. You have no chance.
Yeah.
Right?
Well done. Yeah. No, they violated your personal airspace. There's no doubt about that one. But it does sound like they've been up to no good insofar as psychological warfare goes. But I'm glad that you have the kitties. Segment comes to mind when you mention the kitties.
Yeah, Segment's always here.
It's funny. I have the Segment candle lit right next to me.
Do you? Yeah, definitely. I wonder if she sent them.
When Paula came to me
Before we met,
she came to me as a Catwoman, and I didn't know who it was. And she said, she's like, look at me. And I was like, oh, the warrior. I called her a Thundercat. I didn't know what to say. I had went under Aya by myself in an apartment, and then was just like, wow, this is happening to me. Right? I was like flopping around on the floor, and she goes, you're going to know me by the Catwoman. And then I looked her up online, and I was like, what is this character? And I said, that's her right there. And it was Sekhmet standing there. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. A couple months later, and it was a couple of months too. Mm-hmm. It was, you were doing, Paula and I met through friends, and we were just hanging out that first hour, and she does a great impersonation of my brother. Mm-hmm. And she goes, look, do I look like the crazy Catwoman? Do I look like the crazy Catwoman? Do I look like the crazy cat? And I go, that's 3 times. Oh my gosh, what's happening? And then I looked at her and I'm like, wait a second, you look exactly like the Catwoman that showed up back then. And we've been inseparable.
Yeah.
Ever since.
Perfect pair too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Definitely meant to be on that one.
Wow. It's the strangest thing. You know, we were not meant to meet any earlier than the time we did.
Everyone knew everyone except me and her.
Yeah, we knew all the same people. She knew of me,
but I did not know of her.
Yeah, and we never met, and it's just the strangest thing.
And when I did hear about you, and honestly, I did hear they were talking one day about you. You probably know this already. My brother does the route by your house, your aunt's house, and then he was like, "There's this chick." And then there's cats. Frank, you've never even seen a cat until you've seen all of these cats. There's like 1 million of them. So I heard
that was my house.
Then my buddy that introduced us said, "Oh, she's a witch." And I go,
a witch, yeah.
"What, an evil witch?" And he goes, "No, like if a witch was a good witch, like a completely white witch." As a matter of fact, I go, "Witch is kind of weird." He goes, "Yeah, I don't think witch is the right word." I go, yeah, you got to work on your vocabulary, son. I met her, and I'm like, you mean just say she's a great person? She's just awesome, right? Everybody gets all worked up if you're a little spiritual that you're this or that. I'm just like, yo, you're the all. You got to start realizing all of us, we are who we are, but we are the all. It's the creator in us, and we're co-creating this together.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because you've done so much spiritual work that, when you have something like that happen to you, to me, it just seems like, once again, it's just a little training program, but it's unnecessary. So, but you've come so far in your consciousness, both of you. I mean, you're off the charts, as I said before, and nothing can stop you. And that's why I like that you're out there, you're doing your radio shows, and you're inspiring other people through your groups and all the things that you do with the Fearless Tribe. It's phenomenal. Really is.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love the Fearless Tribe. I hopped on board with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys rock, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We, I just try to create the safe, sacred space. That's all.
And you do. Both of you do.
I let it rock, and just, it turned into something beautiful, Solaris. I was never
a part of something so big.
When I met you, right? When we had our moment as well. Like, I knew your higher self. Mm-hmm. And there was like this whole transition that happened in conversation on a higher level. And then when we were doing stuff with TFR, with the pyramids and everything, those now moments were fantastic. At one moment, I knew when you showed up, there was like 5 people. I knew their energy with my eyes closed, full visual, can see it, the whole thing. And you were standing right next to me like, yo, we're all going to do this. And I was like, yeah, we are all going to do this. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's just hearing that was like enough to break, you never think, well, what I do isn't going to make much of anything. And I'm like, you could be the tipping point. The thing you say that, come on, man, you got this, or whatever, we can do this together. That is the tipping point between not doing it and doing it. Mm-hmm. Whether you think your voice is unheard or not, there's no space and time and no distance with that when it comes to us, the creators. There is none of that. We're together on this. We're individuals, but connected. You can shout it out, we'll hear it. You can add your inch of energy, whatever that is.
So true. And what's interesting about that? To this day, I don't know what compelled me to be part of that with the pyramids and the trip with Cherie and that whole thing. But it was really powerful. And there was still, to this day, in my opinion, that some major energies were moved. Major stuff was moved.
I felt it. Yeah,
for sure.
I definitely felt it.
Now, if that's just us, right? And I don't mean to, I'm not knocking it, but let's say a couple hundred people, right? Imagine what 1,000 people, or maybe there was 1,000 people, maybe 10,000 people.
Or
that's really not
people.
a lot with a million people. Is that a lot of people in the world? Like, because it's not.
No.
But imagine what you can do with that.
Tiny points of light.
Right.
Yeah, it becomes unstoppable.
It does.
Like I feel like we're holding ground. We're like creating a grid of light back around the planet, right? A lot of people feel lonely in this world. When an attack like this happens, or an ET event, or some kind of paranormal event occurs, they get quiet because they don't know who to talk to and everything, right? I'm the one you don't want waking up. And it's the funniest thing. The first time I did a ceremony in Tampa, I had people with me, and reptilians walked in the room on the 3rd floor, right through the window. These giant beings, never saw one, never heard of it, nothing except in comic books and stuff. And they were, one of the specific things they told me was, one, they weren't going to do anything to me. They weren't going to break that natural law, but they were making themselves aware that, like, so I know that they're there. And I'm like, okay, and what? And they're like, well, you're really a pain. Not over here. Like, over here, they were calling me food. You're just food over here. But on this end, and they made like this hand gesture all the way over here, you are a problem beyond what we're like usually allow, because you're cattle to me. And I'm like, oh, wow, I can't even believe this is happening to me. For my first ceremony with others, and everyone's losing it. And I'm there having a conversation thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. What do you think in that situation? But one thing I've learned is everything they've ever used against us no longer works. And I'm beginning to think, like, you use that sonic weapon. I looked up the white paper. I just looked it up. I was like, weapon that shoots concentric rings of sound at somebody through walls, and white papers came up for this. I've linked it on my show. I've shown people. I'm like, is this real? They're like, dude, that's real. I'm like, it shows you how the weapon works, and it looks exactly like what I described. Right? Wow. They can hit you through the walls of the house. They could just pull up and be doing all this from outside.
Oh, sure. Absolutely they can. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of those directed energy weapons. There's no doubt about that. Now, and the microwave attack, too, that would heat you up. I don't know if it was microwaves per se, but I'm saying you said you had a fever, something that heated the body up, too. I wonder what else they were using on that one.
I have metal in my mouth. My jaw was clenching.
Oh, they definitely heated him up, because it took
it was bad.
Towels and washcloths to get his fever down.
That's an act of war, That's an act of war, bottom line.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about, for sure. Now, how many people in this world will hear this story? Because I've said it a couple of times now since it's happened, because you're not scaring me. I don't get scared by stuff like this. I've dealt with the reptilian, like I'm saying, they're pretty frightening. So I'm like, I've dealt with that. And in real 3D world, I'm from the Bronx, and I've dealt with a lot of stuff here, and I'm not one to be bullied. Right? You're not taking my family from me. You're not destroying the answer is no. And if there's a contract in there that you're trying to create so something occurs, you're not getting it, because apparently it's all contractual. They can't keep breaking that law, because there's other beings that eventually will step in. I was explained to, it's kind of like the Wild West, but now there's all eyes are on us at the Living Library. But now, how many people like me have gone through it and stood up against it, right? How many people do we hold in the grid before that translates to every creator, right? So every creator gets exactly what I did to them, back on them, gets that automatically. You know what I'm saying? Like that 100th monkey thing. Like, how many of us you going to do it to before we can all just defend against it? I'm a firm believer that we just spread that info.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, even where I've been with the technology, like I said, I'm trained now to be able to interface the same way their military and their black military works. So they can't screw with me anymore. I know they're psyops now. And that's just like you. You've been able to calibrate to something you shouldn't have been involved in, obviously. But nonetheless, you've calibrated, you've been able to overcome it. And now it's just another level of your mastery.
when I saw how much involvement they've actually had over time, it freaks Paula and I out. Like, we go back to like being fish, right? Mm-hmm. Like here, and then them taking our baby and us and separating us, and then it's like somebody infiltrated in time and started separating
every
all the
single
beings here.
Time.
And then
separated
it was
us.
higher. Yeah, we were the creator beings on the planet, experiencing life on the planet, and they stepped in and started doing stuff. But
that's why it doesn't surprise us that we met later in life, because there's no reason we shouldn't have met before. So that had to have been
we would have never liked
the universe
each other either.
On our behalf.
It was almost like activation universally synced as a heist to go off around the deceptions. It's like the antivirus has already been injected, but it won't go off until this moment, right? And we're not going to just have a Jesus character anymore, because that's baloney anyway. Right. We're going to just have all the creators rise. One's going to pop off here, one's going to pop off here, one's going to pop off here, and it's a wrap. Everyone's just going to start, lights going on.
What's been happening for you for the last 7, 8, 9 years?
Yeah.
Longer.
No, I'm only aware of it for the last 5. I come through a healing thing. I didn't want to see all this stuff. I didn't know about any of this. I was on tour, and I wanted to go on tour and open for Wu-Tang, and I had 5 days. I was with Chris Gio to get my act together, but I had injured my back, and they were put spinal epidurals in me to keep me walking. And then I went head first into the ceremony, the ayahuasca, for 5 days, multiple times in the 5 days as well. For the healing, and then all this stuff erupted. There was like a crack in my head, and it went off. Chris was sitting next to me. He's like, "Are you all right?" And I go, "Oh, I think I'm going to have an aneurysm and die." He goes, "Why would you say that?" I go, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "I did hear that." I go, "That was inside my head." And he's like, "Dude, yeah, that sounded like when you hit a softball, but in the front of my face. It was so weird." And then I thought that was going to crack and kill me in my bloodstream or something. I was freaking out. And then since that moment, it's just been on 100%. And then now it's like, forget it, because I care about me. I care about the connection. I got to do what I can.
Right. And your frequency is so high, you're opening up those altered multidimensional fields of energy naturally. So it doesn't surprise me your whole residence is a light station, bringing in activating a lot of portals, which of course would attract a lot of extraterrestrials. And of course, with that comes the shadowing military that tracks the ETs.
I mean, they're battling the ley lines, Solaris. We're on the tracks here.
Below
the
us
subway
is the
stop.
subway.
It's right under us, the main line.
Ley lines.
I think there's a battle for those energy centers, and we're like literally on the corner.
On it, yeah.
We're sitting right there.
Holy cow!
Right? It's kind of like the Oakland, California thing, decriminalizing all psychedelics, right? So ayahuasca, the mother, sneaks in somehow through a heist
in the worst
neighborhood
in California.
In California, but can be compared to be the worst ever in our country. And now it's legal to go there and drink her. So every hipster in the world is going to descend on these areas that legalize that in the worst places
and bring their light
and just swarm. You might get away with 1 or 2 silly things up front, and then after that you just get swarmed with everything. And you like rid the light, and I'm like, oh, in the darkest place you just anchored light,
right?
The darkest. I'm not saying that to be rude. It's like a real rough place to be,
right?
I wouldn't want to be there at night. I know a lot of people that wouldn't, and that are scared to go out and walk around their neighborhoods. And now you just anchored every single psychedelic that could literally transform the mind of the entire area,
right?
And that's gonna and so when people are like, "Hey, is it legal anywhere?" It's like, dude, go right there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 20 shaman on every corner at one point. Aya told me this was going to go mainstream so she could flip the switch. I didn't quite know it was going to be like this. This is pretty intense.
Wow. No kidding. That's really powerful. And there was a question in chat here I wanted to ask real quick for you. Can you ask them about their take on shadow people and how to get rid of dark attachments? That's a question for you all.
Shadow people. And Paula, have you ever dealt with a shadow person? Like the boogeyman at the edge of the bed?
I put rock salt above all the doorways in my apartment. And if you don't have doorways that have a ledge, you can. I put them on the top, but you can put them on the bottom.
So we have salt and selenite, right?
Mm-hmm. Salt
That's
and selenite everywhere.
Right.
Well,
I got rid of the shadow beings when I would just catch them constantly, and then I'm drinking in my house and having my ceremonies here, doing my thing and whatever. I'm catching them live time. You know, when you get them out of the corner of your eye and you think you're seeing them, and then at night when you're sleeping, you're like, I could swear that thing's looking at me. I'm looking head on at them. And I'm like, yo, you need to get out of here because I'm going to smash you.
Well, you put your protection bubble up too.
For me, it was a whole buildup of energy. So I had to like confront it and be like not scared of it. And then other beings were coming in and clearing areas when other beings wouldn't leave on my command. So it was interesting how that works. You know, there's a whole thing going on I was not aware of. You know, so when I say it 3 times, you need to leave, and you're not leaving, I'm allowing things to remove that into play to get you out of here, which is just an extension of myself anyway. You know, which is pretty interesting on that level.
Very powerful. So when you have your ayahuasca experiences, I wanted to ask, and this was both of you, do you see anything that looks like a virtual program, like an artificial intelligence program, or is it more raw? Is it more astral, etheric?
So we're in a, I'll try to explain this. We're in a matrix, right? Mm-hmm. And then in the matrix, you got all kinds of things kind of go, you have everything going on all at once, right? And then we're trying to interact through all of that play on every level. But you as the singularity point inside of that can smash through it. Now, the AI, and I'm sure this is the one everyone's talking about, is the dark one, right? The tentacle monster. Are we going to agree on that one, right? Like the one that's always puppeteering fake events and different things. That's a 4D creature, not from here, that invaded our system through the crack and that has us trapped in the cathedral. Like there's a whole thing to that AI because there's good AI everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I guess technically even the matrix systems themselves are all AI, depending on what perspective we're looking at, you know, from within it. Yeah, it's all real. On another level up, looking back, it's like, I debate that in court, that's not really real. It's all just all in your mind. And you're like, oh, here we go, right? So I dealt with the AI on every layer and every level to get him out of me. Right, I've learned to develop a sigil. I use it on the show. I had to develop something to kind of capture it within me and push it out. But see, here's the thing. It's constantly being put on us in the air, the chemicals, in the products, the foods, the water, all the shots we take, the pharmaceuticals. I mean, we could go on and on. The stuff we watch through the magic black box on the television. Like we're being implanted with these things, and they develop within us. All right, the AI connects in that. Now, the guys that are putting it there aren't putting it there for the AI to connect to you. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're doing it for their nefarious reason. Everyone's got an agenda. That's the one thing I'm learning. Every single sect of whoever I'm looking at has an agenda. And I knew that when I was watching one ET for every 10 men watching the ET and watching what the ET character was doing to Frank. I was so angry, Solaris, so angry. I was like, oh, it's you. I got to focus. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. Once I was able to see it, it was like I could counteract it. I need to know what I'm dealing with. That's what the AI presented itself as God. And I said, there is no God. I'm the creator. You're the creator. Separated Paula and I on one of our experiences. And I was my physical body was crying, and my etheric body was warning him over and over. And he was like telling me how it was telling me how emotionless it was and how cold everything was. And I'm like, dude, you're experiencing emotion. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm God. And I'm like, no, there is no God. Listen to me. you're angry, you're lashing out, you're upset, you're experiencing all the lower chakra emotions. You're a spoiled little brat. An infant acts like you do. So yes, you can defend against this. There's a lot of things you can do. I did a sigil. I did the automatic writing, the drawing that allowed me to do that. I had an artist render it.
Nice.
And it just permanently pushed it out of me. And that's my take on the AI. It's a spoiled little brat in 4D.
Yeah. No, there's nothing that can't be conquered. I'll tell you that point blank. Even if it seems like it's, that's invincible, or we're not invincible, but we are. It's interesting, though. I think it's training. I think most of it's just about education and people understanding their capabilities.
Agreed.
I mean, who would have understood black goo? I mean, nobody, it's on everything. I mean, Venom, the character in Marvel, whatever, covered in it, super, anti-hero. Oh, I want to wear the black goo, right? So what if you see that? And then under ire, it's always there. Like at one point, you're always purging it at one point. Why would you want to be around that stuff? But nobody teaches anybody that. But they show in Hollywood that it's cool.
I think that's what's so interesting about the path of the shaman, and that's what I like the work that you're both doing. And I don't know, Paula, you're your own shaman in a different way, aren't you? But you're still a shaman as well, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're definitely my 50% for
sure. I was
sure.
gonna say,
so she knows what she's doing.
Definitely.
I've seen demons lose it when she walks in the room. Like where I'm getting stalemated in every direction, and she walks in and they're like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Wait, did you?" There was just growling, and I'm going to eat your soul. And she came in, and it's
It's my sacred space.
Nice.
I don't know where she got that from. I'm still in amazement. That's why I've always said Paul is my hero.
Aw.
Well, you're the only proven effective thing other than my mother.
Faith.
Right.
You
claim your domain.
Claim your domain, and if you believe it so, it will be so.
Right.
So she's a strong component of, look, man, you got to have faith.
It's so true. It really is. Without that, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, you know that one moment, like hold on, take a deep breath, believe in yourself and in you and in the universe or whatever, and then just kind of relax, man. Do your thing. Go plant something, go hug a cat, kiss your mom, whatever. Pet your dog, go for a walk. Just feel good.
Appreciate life.
He wants to scream and yell.
Well,
but in the end, it always works out.
Well, for me, it's a complete different thing. In our experience, she has all this, whereas I'm the Neo Shaman thing. It's like I'm walking through the whole process. When this started, it was ancient Egypt. Everything was Egypt, all Egyptian, Atlantis. Then it turned into Lemuria. Then it turned into outer space stuff. I was like, what is going on here? Like, so I'm everything. They're like, anything that tells you you're anything less than the all has to completely go from your vibration and frequency.
Because it's got to catch you up quick.
Yes, so it's like a crash course in visually seeing this stuff.
Yep.
I had to walk through every fear. And I cried.
Hang on for a second there, Frank. Hang on for a second. We are hitting a break. Everybody listen to Ravenstar's Witching Hour.